Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I'm I've been sick, so
Oh,
but I'm
I'm so
here.
sorry. What's up? What's happening? What
Uh,
sickness art thou? Sorry.
those have not good one. Um,
So,
have you ever had the chicken pox?
I think when I was like really young, those things that come on your body.
So if you've had the chicken pox, it lays dormant in your body, and
Hmm.
later you can get chicken pox revisited, and they call it shingles.
Ah, I didn't know.
Yeah. So guess who is winner winner chicken dinner and got it?
Oh, you did. I'm
And you
sorry.
have to be here in the States, you have to be at least 50 to get the vaccine. I'm not quite there yet. So, last week, I've been working on a beading project, and I thought
What?
a beading project,
Okay,
beads,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
and I thought I just strained myself from the way
Uh-huh.
I was sitting and doing it
Yeah.
because my side kind of hurt. But it wasn't just my side, it was my skin hurt. I don't know how else to explain that. And I thought, well, this is kind of weird. And I Googled a few things, and it said, well, if you have fibromyalgia, which I do, it could be that, but I've never felt pain like that before. And there's no other, I checked it, and there's like no visible um, signs of anything. And so I just kept going with it. Well, then this was Thursday night. And then by Sunday, I was feeling like really tired. You know how your body feels when you have like the flu, your body just kind of is achy and sore. And
Mm,
again, this area on my side,
mm.
it really hurt to touch anything, just my skin touching I couldn't, clothes, anything. It just hurt. And then I was
Yeah,
getting really cold. And so goosebumps hurt like really
yeah,
bad, and it was
yeah.
just really painful. And I looked some more, and I was like, no, can't be
Mm.
that. The one time, like googling something, and it's actually correct,
Yeah.
because somehow shingles came up, and I was like, no. So
Oh,
Monday came around, and I checked, and I did have a little rash, and I was
yeah,
like, oh no. So I went right to the clinic, and because I caught it in less, within hours of the rash showing up, they gave me a medicine.
yeah,
So it's like an antiviral type medicine to do
yeah.
it. So, which doesn't stop it, but it helps stop the reproduction so it doesn't get as much. So actually, what mine is probably a very mild case,
Yeah.
um, but still very painful and very itchy. So, and then you just feel unwell. You're just very lethargic, just tired, and like even sometimes just breathing and on the right side it hurts.
Mm,
So, and this can last weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
sorry.
if you're
Oh.
50 and over, go get your shingles vaccine. If you're not, good luck. Be like me, and just you're just so lucky and just special. And
Yeah,
matter of fact, when I was at the pharmacy this year, they had
yeah.
asked me at one point, "Oh, well, how old are you?" And I was like, "Oh." And I told them, and they're like, "Oh, you're not old enough to get it." And I said, "What?" And they said, "The shingles vaccine." And I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Okay, all right. So, are you saying that these shingles gets people are like over 50?
Well, I think it usually happens when you're older, but
Mm.
it's not uncommon for you to get it if you're under
Okay,
that,
all
if you're
right.
younger. Like the lady at the pharmacist said, her 21-year-old daughter got it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so, oh yeah,
So
I guess depends from person to person.
yeah, but I am immune compromised. It's like being a diabetic.
Yeah,
So that might be
the
my
reason.
thing. And,
Yeah.
stress can bring it on, but I wasn't stressed or
Mm,
anything. So,
mm. All right. Oh God. Okay, but I'm glad you are able to talk. Like you are seated. It's not like you are lying on your bed almost. Or
no, I'm just
you're fine.
itchy.
I'm
So if
glad.
I'm doing this the whole time, it's because
I'm
I'm
so sorry. It's
itchy and
uncomfortable.
it's not fun.
Yeah, it's
So
uncomfortable.
I'm just glad that like I got the medicine when I did. And don't look at pictures; it's horrible. Mine doesn't look like that. So, like I said, I noticed the signs and went right away. And
Mm,
it really, because it was just I just had like a little bit of a cluster of like a rash like on my back, and then I have just a little bit just like right here and like
mm,
right here, but it's more spread out. And
yeah,
so it just looks like kind of what chickenpox would look like. And
yeah.
like had I not gone on, it would have been a lot more severe. So I could count myself
So,
very fortunate that
mm,
I went to the doctor and didn't like wait around.
yeah.
So,
Oh
and then,
Lord.
I wasn't worried because my son had the vaccine, not the shingles, but he had chickenpox vaccine.
Yeah, yeah,
So, which here in the States, it didn't really come around till 1984. And it wasn't until
yeah,
about 1995 that it became mandatory that your kids get it.
yeah.
So, being that he's never had the chickenpox before, he doesn't have to worry about it. And he had the vaccine.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
good to know.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. We live and we learn. All right. So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. So, we are past that, or almost past that. But yeah. Anyway, um, yeah, it's been a good week so far on my side. I actually like, um, I want to see if Chris is here. He's not because I don't say this when he's here. So you remember so I've had such a there's something happening like my wig, right? So it's really shedding, shedding a lot, right? Like a lot, like it's because I have three, so I know like this one is too much. And I'm like, it's too much. It's not supposed to be like this. And the others are not shedding as much. Like you understand. I
Yeah.
mean, you wouldn't understand, but
No,
you
I
get.
understand. I mean, I was a hairdresser for years. I understand.
So this one was actually very expensive. It was like almost $700, 650 to $700, right? And the
Yeah.
other ones that I have is like there's one for like 350. Then there's one for 200 or 250. No, the other one is 400. Anyway, so I'm just trying to show you like why would this be shedding so much when it was more expensive, blah blah blah. Like I'm so disappointed, but then I'm like, anyway, we live and we learn. So
I
I
mean,
don't
I guess it would depend on, if it's 100% human hair. Some have like a mixture. Um, I don't know.
no,
Are
this
they
is
from the
supposed to
same
be
company?
100% no different. This is the first one.
That might be it too.
My first one, it's supposed to be 100%, like really good quality. Even when like you do the styling on it, appears good, but it's just shedding a lot. But anyway, yeah, I guess it's part of
Like my
life.
hair. And it's my on my head. I'm not gonna have any hair left.
Yeah, oh my God. Like we have, I mean, there's a lot of, when it comes to hair, there's just a lot going on, to be honest. Like personally, I'm in the journey of trying to grow my hair and it's very frustrating. But then I'm trying to be really positive about it. I went for the cut. Like I've never like trimmed my hair ever in my life. I
I
went
saw the pictures. It looks so cute.
Thank you. Trimmed that one. And I was like, okay, now I'm like serious. I want to grow my hair out. I don't want to be
Yeah.
like everyone saying, oh, you can't grow for C hair, you can't grow for C hair, or African hair cannot be grown. I want to be someone who actually tried. I'd rather try and fail. I'll do everything possible. In fact, there's something I had like I need to like massage my head for 2 hours a day to get yeah, this is someone I'm following who hair is like as long as this wig and it's for C hair. And she says she massages her scalp for 2 hours a day and she does it in like 20 sessions, 20 minutes throughout the day. And I've
So
been
basically, what
trying.
she's doing is stimulating the scalp.
Yeah, I've been trying. I do 30 minutes minimum a day. So I'm really trying to really get things moving. We shall see. I mean, I'm trying. I said I'll do everything possible. And to a point where I'll be like, I tried and it failed, or I tried and actually succeeded. Let's see how
Yeah.
this one goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Yeah, all right. So let's start. We've put out our frustrations, what has gone on, like that.
Get all
But
that out of the way.
yeah, that's out of the
To
way.
let y'all know, we're just as human as everybody else. Let me tell ya, crap happens,
Absolutely.
crap happens.
Absolutely. So there are hard times and then there are like really good times, but I'm trying my best to actually have like gratefulness, like be grateful. Forever happens, blah blah blah. And it's more of like, yeah, I mean it's more of there's it's never gonna be easy. And that's
Mm-mm.
okay. But just find ways to be grateful. It's only by being grateful that we're able to get what is it called? Like we're able to get more out of life. Yeah. Anyway, so let's go to the topic, which is toxic parenting traits. I even my
Yep.
laptop is over there. I need to get it.
Yeah, go get
But
it. I
yeah,
did not write anything down.
so let me first let me first share this. I'm gonna go dark for a minute as I share this live out and then get my laptop. Okay, I'm back.
I'm still here.
Yeah, all right. So toxic parenting trait, we are definitely not getting behind on. We're just gonna start with the first one. I had notes somewhere that I shared with you, and that. So essentially, here we're just gonna look at like we have five. We have five that are very common. Um, that obviously we see a lot of this on social media, and I'll start with the first one, which is where we have celebration of, I know, like having a child do so many things so that we can keep them busy, so that they don't get bored. Um, I think this is like the mention of like when a child is, let's say, they've come from school, they go for piano classes, they have, I don't know, tennis, then they have to go swimming. Maybe during the weekend, they're like doing everything. Like they have a jam-packed schedule. And this is just a child. And that's something that is very common. And I think we've talked about this before, but let's just repeat that aspect of like parents being scared of their children getting bored. Yeah.
Well, I think it stems from many things. First of all, it's okay for kids to be bored. It's through boredom that kids learn to be creative. And so don't ever be scared for your kids to be bored. Um, and then the other thing I think some of this comes from is sometimes parents wanting to live vicariously through their children. So basically, things because now they have the lifestyle or financial means to do what they need to do, they
Yeah.
want to then give their children or put their children into things that they wish they could have done when they were their age.
Yeah.
So I think some of that stems from there too, because not only are you putting your children out by keeping them so occupied, you yourself are being so occupied. And if nobody's taking care of nobody, then what's being done, right? Because that's going to wear down on you mentally and physically. The going here, going there, the constant
Yeah.
need for that. And
Yeah.
it's a cause things like anxiety because I gotta hurry up, I've got to do this, I've got to meet this standard. To each their own and what they think they want to do with their family. But I just would hope that parents would sit back and go, why are we really doing this? Does my child really want to do this, or is it something I really want them to do? And look back and ask the question, why do I want this?
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have the child do some of these things. Like, I'd have loved to have parents who taught me how to play piano because I see people to play piano and I'm like, oh my God, I wish I know to play piano. Yeah, there are things, yeah. Playing tennis, all those things. I mean, there are things to some extent you're like, you know what, there's time we can do this, but also there's a need to give space for children to explore, play, and actually be bored. I think just finding the balance. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know when I was growing up, if my brother or I wanted to do something, for the most part, our parents allowed us to. But the thing was, we went to them to ask them if we could do A, B, C, or D. And then the stipulation was, okay, if you start this, you need to finish this. So if I had paid for piano lessons and you and I paid for this many lessons, you need to follow through and you need to do it. Not only do you need to do it, you need to be practicing and all the things that go along with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and that's what we did, and we had to stick with it. And that's where we learned what we liked, what we didn't. But my days were not packed full of that. I was outside playing with my friends.
Mm,
So,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Okay. So there's the other one is gentle parenting, that is being taken to extremes. So I'm thinking this. I've seen a lot of this gentle parenting trend, and it's more of like the child is shouting, they are probably rolling on the floor, they're probably throwing things, and the parent is like, you know, wait, um, like, what are you feeling? Uh, like, it's more of they don't want to shout. I mean, I'm not saying shout. I'm saying like it's there's no that reaction is almost held behind because obviously if I was in a supermarket and my son threw something, I would be like, what the hell are you doing? But most parents are like scared of that initial reaction. I don't know how to explain this, but I find that there is a problem with the whole gentle parenting taken to extremes, because here we are not showing the child like this is wrong, and we almost try to mask it. I feel like there's the masking. I don't know if I'm making sense with this one.
But there's not there's more to it, and having to understand, because we cannot rationalize a 2-year old's breakdown because their brain's not fully developed. They don't understand why these feelings are happening, right? So first of all, having to understand that. But secondly, we need to understand gentle parenting or not gentle parenting. When your child is in that moment of where they flip their lid, and I've talked about this before, because when they're that upset, they have disconnected from their prefrontal cortex because they're so upset. So they're in freeze, fight, or fight mode. So they're in their downstairs brain in here. And
Yeah.
remember, that is just to keep you alive and going with whatever's happening. So they're freaking out for whatever reason. They're right here, not connected. And remember, up here in your prefrontal cortex is where your reasoning and your decision making and all that is. And that has to be here. And if a kid is here and they flip their lid, if you flipped your lid, you do not have the ability to reason or to explain. So, gentle parenting or not, when a child is that upset, going, well, talk about your foot, they can't. It's absolutely absurd. So
Mm,
they even try to do that when they're right
yeah.
there. And then if you come in and you flip your lid and you're both going out, they're upset and you're trying to calm them down because you're upset now. And it's just like adding fuel to the fire. Nothing gets done, but the fire gets bigger. So
Mm,
that does not work. You have to come up with these other ways of dealing with that. And sometimes that means if I'm in the grocery store and my kid is having a fit, that means taking them out of the thing, walking out, going into
yeah.
my car, and sitting in there till they calm down.
Mm, mm,
Because that's what they're doing. And they know that, okay, you're there with me, I'm being upset. But when they're upset, it's not the time to talk to them about it because nothing's going to get done. Nothing is going to be soaked through. It doesn't happen when you're down here. You physically can't.
Mm,
Um, so and being a parent that leads does not mean we have to go to the other extreme either, and
mm,
and be domineering. So I think there's those two extremes that we have, very over domineering parents and very passive
yeah,
parenting.
yeah,
And you kind of have to come to that center,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because again, if we're being overbearing and yelling and shouting out demands, our children are automatically, they're going to shut down and start to go here. So then are they
totally,
really listening to anything you're saying?
yeah.
Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely not.
So they,
So
yeah,
yeah, so I mean, it is it's kind of a fine back and forth dance that you play as parenting.
yeah,
There's no, perfect way, but you got to find that balance, and you have to understand.
yeah,
And just like when you're getting up really upset with your children, why am I all of a sudden yelling at my child? I mean,
mm,
was what they did that bad that resulted in needing me to yell like that?
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah, and
So, I mean, questioning yourself. I like you always say, be curious. Be curious and sit back when you have reconnected with your upstairs brain to come back and go, why did I have that big of a reaction? Was it that
mm,
important? Because if
yeah,
we're yelling at our kids, we're teaching them to yell. If we're being super
yeah,
passive with our kids, we are teaching them to be passive. And not only are
yeah,
we teaching them to be passive, we are teaching them that, if they complain enough, they can get whatever they want. You understand?
mm,
So you really have to pay attention to what you're doing,
yeah,
not improving
yeah.
on what you were taught
I
is
think
toxic balance
just
is always
improving on,
best. Yeah,
yeah,
it's very true. I mean, if you're making the same mistakes your parents were, you're not growing. And
yeah.
we have to find that balance for our family,
There's no
whatever that
growth.
means.
And I think the thing that I was trying to bring out is that shame or like fear to set firm boundaries because you are trying to be really gentle. I think that's the thing that I was trying to bring out. Like, yeah, I'm such a gentle parent. The gentle parenting thing of, not setting firm boundaries because you're like your child will be upset. And
No, they
that's
have to know there's
one of the things that,
disappointment in life.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
there's this, my parents, my mom would set this expectation to my brother and I. So she would give us
yeah.
the option, do you want to go to the store with me? Yes or no?
Mm,
And the answer
mm,
was yes. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. I'm only going to get A, B, C, and D. Don't ask me for nothing. Don't be running off. Don't be acting like a fool. She set down those rules. Okay, you follow those? Okay, then come on. And you knew better than to disobey and not do that. Like you were just going to get out of the house and to do whatever, but you're not going to get toys. You're not going to get anything special because this is what you're doing. Period. End of sentence.
no,
Right?
I'm laughing because I see a comment here. Don't give options. Why don't you? Why?
Well, I mean, I, 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 I think there is a limit. There is exceptions for the options. So
Mm,
because there's certain situation options should be and can be given,
mm,
because if you to show a child to be a little independent, you can give them options on little things. Okay, would you rather do it now or in 5 minutes?
mm,
Would you rather wear this sock or this sock? It gives them some individuality, some say, but it's very controlled and limited, right?
yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay, yeah. He says no, no, but I actually believe that's a thing. Okay, let's see. Bambi says we shouldn't raise our children the same way our parents raised us. I agree to some extent because I believe our parents did some things right and some things actually really wrong. I think it's just a finding out where do you feel they actually didn't do right, and then you can better that. Yeah, that's what
Right.
I believe. They just didn't get everything wrong. Yeah, so
We always want to
absolutely.
do better than what our parents did for us and hope that our children do better than we did with them.
And this actually requires some sort of self-awareness. There's some level of self-awareness that is required here because most people actually are not really aware of they actually are doing the same things their parents did because they're passing it down to their children.
Yeah.
Um,
There's something like also with choices. I believe in natural consequences as well. Okay, so as a parent, you need to know the limit. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example. In Tennessee, when it was in the summertime. My son just wanted to go out and wear this long sleeve shirt. It was hotter than Hades outside, and the humidity was disgusting. So, I mean, it was just a really hot and
yeah.
he wanted to wear this. And I was like, baby, it's too hot outside. No. Now I knew that we were just going to be in the car, go to the store, and we're going to be back in the car again. So I knew what we were doing. And
Mm,
so I was just like, I'm not going to argue with this kid. Put it on. And I said, I don't want to hear no complaining, no whatever. I told you it was hot. You didn't want to wear this. I was like, you're going to learn. And it's
mm,
natural consequences. Okay, my kid was still safe. He wasn't dehydrated or anything. And this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes children need to learn natural consequences. And he went out and he was hotter than heck, sweating. And I was like, I don't want to hear no complaining. Mm-mm. You made your choice. I told you, you want to wear it. You need to deal with it.
yeah, dealing with the
So
consequences.
that's what I mean. There are times that you need. My mom did this to me because obviously my son gets it from me. Because
Mm,
I did it when I was a kid too. And my mom said, fine, go put your shorts on, go outside. It's cold. I didn't told you. And I did. And I came right back in and was like, okay, I want to put pants on. You see what I'm saying? There is
yeah,
natural consequences. You need to learn. Okay.
yeah.
I'm not talking about these extremes where your kids just walk all over you and do all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking
Mm,
about little situations like this where they need to learn.
yeah, they need,
And they're
yeah,
safe and
absolutely.
they're completely safe. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I got PTSD from my mom. That's Chris.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, sucks. Like Bambi, like our parents were very harsh with us being around boys that and that built fear. Yeah, my dad. If my dad saw me talking to a boy, I would get whooped. I never spoke. I mean, I feared guys. My goodness, like he never saw me for sure. He never saw me with talking to a guy, to a boy. Never ever. So I think I totally understand this what Bambi is saying here. And
Yeah,
yeah,
my parents were diverse, so my dad wasn't around. It was my mom. And so
yeah,
I think I would have been more afraid because of my older brother, but I would have been afraid for whoever hurt me with my older brother being around. So, so I really had no worries. So
yeah. You had protection, Bambi. I
I
resonate.
did.
You can't even mention boys, you can't mention sleepovers. I mean, it was quite a very strict upbringing. I think that's why when we grow older, also there's the aspect of rebellion because my dad was just too strict. He was extremely strict. I think it was also because I was a girl, so he was too strict. Like there's so many things I couldn't do. I had to pretend, not even pretend, like just to be some way, like a certain way. And I think and then came the period of like, after you're now going to university, sort of like, oh my God, oh, this, look at this world, there's freedom, and then you get the freedom, then you're like, oh shit, you don't know how to handle it, like you don't know how to handle the whole thing. So I think it's really bad. The whole thing. I think you can find balance that. I think when I get a girl child, I think I'll put this in mind. There is balance that is needed. Yeah, it's good to be strict,
Yeah,
but
absolutely. I mean, and think of, again, this is always put on that, girls need to watch out for guys because if we talked about, SA or assault, it's usually, we worry about our girls. But
mm,
let me just say, there are plenty of boys that out there that have been SA and assaulted, and we don't talk about that enough.
yeah, true.
Um, and it's very underreported for
Mm,
that. So we should also be protecting our boys
mm,
as well as our girls.
absolutely. Yeah. Then I think the next one, the other toxic parenting trait is the aesthetic Montessori obsession. Uh, so it's like parents feel they can't do Montessori unless they spend hundreds. And then there is kids getting overwhelmed by too many purposeful options. Pressure builds to make every corner of the home intentional, right? Like the house has to look a certain way, and then you have to do things a certain way. If don't use plastic cups, there's a lot, like especially I think this also is a big deal, especially for those who are doing like these vlogs of their home and they have children. So there's that pressure also that is passed down to the child. You need to behave a certain way for the camera. Don't use that. Put the seat over there. So they don't have that option of just being wild and I know and just playful and just being children. So I think this is a problem. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when it's overly structured, because that goes against what Montessori, schools and Montessori lifestyle is about. Because
Mhm.
it's about, going out and learning and what's the word I'm looking for?
Exploring.
Experimenting,
Okay.
that
Yeah.
free play that, oh, well, if I do this, then, well, oops, this is going to happen. It's going out and figuring out what you like, what you don't like. That's what Montessori is about. It's not about being so controlled.
Yeah.
So I think you have it right when you speak in that manner that people are trying to do. Because again, you're going to an extreme that is not what the purpose of Montessori was supposed to be or is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
So,
independent.
and yeah, I mean, kids need to go and have more free play. They need to get out and scrape up their knees. Lord knows I've had plenty of scraped up knees and I turned out just fine. So, and I was the most thick headed of thick headedness of children of, oh, don't tell me not to do something. Bet I'm going to go. I mean, it triggered something. Okay, I'm going to go do it. And I learned hard lessons.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, natural consequences. I learned, and I'm still here.
yeah, I totally
It didn't
get it.
kill you, did it? No, it didn't. May have
Yeah,
hurt for a little bit, but I'm still here.
yeah. So the whole,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just the whole obsession of perfection and a perfect kind of aesthetics. And I've seen this in some videos of like vlogs. I don't know if you've seen this video where the lady has twins, right? Twins and a boy. So like everything is so clean. Like they're taking a shower. Like it's almost performative. Like are these children like messy? There's no messiness, which I'm like, okay. I mean, if it's like that, I mean, happy for you. But yeah, but it's very clean aesthetics. And someone will look and like, and then you could see the comments, but like, oh, your children are so disciplined, or wow, they don't even make a mess. And I'm like, okay, so children actually make mess. Like this could just be something that has been curated to look a certain way. So we shouldn't actually now start comparing what's happening with the whole mama aesthetics and parenting aesthetics that is only
And each family is different and each child's different, so what
for
works one
real.
for one does not work for the other. I mean, my
Absolutely.
father tried to do that with my brother and I, and if he didn't know who to blame, we both got in trouble no matter who initiated it. It was not
Mm,
okay. My
yeah.
mom, on the other hand, she would, discipline accordingly, and like I
Mm,
said, and that was more effective uh, and growing up and what was going on. So my
yeah.
dad, it's like he didn't care. One got in trouble, we all got in trouble. It
Mm,
was done.
yeah.
So having to know your children too and what works and what doesn't work for your children. Now my son is one of those that he has things and they have to be done a certain way. And he's been like that since he was little. I actually have to get him to get out and get dirty and be like, it's okay. We have a washing machine. We can wash your clothes.
Yeah.
You need to wash your hands. Are you still playing outside? You're okay. You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that's the way I have to take it with him. And he hates it. And I'm like, it's okay. A little dirt won't hurt.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, all right. Yeah. So different children, different experiences. But anyway, yeah. All right. So the other thing is the hyper celebration of milestones. Um, so everything is celebrated like every fast tooth we have fast Tuesday is turned to an event, to a photo shoot, cake smash or reel, while documenting is joyful, it's beautiful. It's become a performance. I think we've talked about this before, like, oh my god, like it's more of like, oh, be like this, do like this. So now it's more trying to outdo the other parent. Like it's my for example, it's my daughter's first birthday. Who, like there's all the celebration, like they're just one. I mean, I'm just like, one is great, but I mean it's too much for
Well,
everything.
the thing with doing this is that children then grow up expecting to be praised for things they should be doing. And
Mm,
this will show up in the workforce, in school, and everything else. And I feel like that this comes again from maybe two factors of, oh, I would have wanted this when I was a kid. And you're thinking as an adult who's had life experiences that you would have wanted this. But then two is, I think it's because it's a trend and it's something going around, and oh, I'm going to keep up with the trends, even if we don't realize it, but you see it enough. Because
yeah,
it used to be when women were pregnant, they had a baby shower. Well, now we have gender reveals, and we have all these other, we have diaper parties, gender reveals, and then you
present.
have uh what did I say? Oh my God, words are not wording today. But it's become too much. You just every single little thing. And you know what? To each their own. If that's what you want to do, that's great. But that
Yeah,
is definitely not for me. So, and if you want to sit there and celebrate, the thing is, you don't have to wait for something special to happen. My late husband always was a believer and said, why should I have to wait for an anniversary, or why should I have to wait for a birthday? If I want to get something or
celebrate.
do something for you, I should
Yeah.
be able to celebrate you or do it whenever I want to and not have to wait for a particular day to do it. So there's that too. The presence, yeah.
Push
Yeah, because
present.
we start to lose value in what is actually happening on that day and what that day is.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
becomes
know.
about the superficial.
Yeah, it's
What am I
very,
going to get?
yeah, absolutely. What am I gonna get? And then obviously the aspect of kids becoming like the centerpiece of the content. It's also something else that is mentioned. And then now again, we have to perform, and then they're like, it can even bring some sort of like not being unsure, like you being unsure of yourself, because if the camera is pointed at you and you're told you need to be a certain way, then when the camera is pointed at you, you're like, am I doing the right thing? So yeah, I think ultimately it's just not very healthy for the children. So I think here it's just like you can celebrate quietly and it still can count. Then, um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
My son has never had a huge birthday party with like all these people and extravagant. It's been nothing like that. And matter of fact, as it's gotten older,
yeah,
as he's gotten older, and I do it with my nephew too, is,
mm,
I do where do you want to go? I'll take you for lunch on your birthday. And they
yeah,
get to pick wherever. This year, my nephew did a movie instead because there was a movie he wanted to watch. So we did that instead. And we do little things like that. And, there's still, I mean, my nephew and my son really don't want for anything. Um, so there's also that. But I mean, they enjoy those little things. And like my nephew, he wanted stuff for his dog for his birthday. It wasn't even for him, it's for his dog, for
yeah,
me. So that's what I got him. And, and that's sweet that he's thinking outwardly it wasn't all about him, you know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
So,
mean, also I think we need to bring up the aspect of also depends on how much what you can afford, because
yes,
I mean, yeah, right. If I was like a dollar millionaire, and I'm buying a gift for someone, probably like flying you to like, I don't know, Hawaii or wherever, and that is not like, it's okay. It's like, let's say, I think it's more of like, again, we're not gonna judge you if you're doing that. And no one should judge the other person for doing that. It's more of like, do what is within your means. I think we talked about this
yes,
before. Yeah, like if you're able to afford it, I mean, go ahead, do it.
right.
Also, it's more of like, what is the intention behind it?
Yes. What is the intention behind it? Exactly.
Yeah, so is it for people to say like, you are doing this and so you are in a better place, better than everyone else, or is it just you genuinely want to make the other person happy? I mean, there's a lot here. Yeah, there's a lot to
Yeah.
unpack here, but yeah, do what is
Yeah,
um
do within your means. Just like live within your means on a normal basis. You shouldn't be trying to keep up with, maybe if your
yeah.
kid comes home, but so and so's doing it. Okay, but I'm not so and so's parents. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have the money or the means that they do,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
teaching your children that from an early age is important. And I think that's a
Mm,
lot harder with today, with having social media and internet in their faces all the time.
yeah.
And as parents, we really need to be in the midst of that and be having these discussions with our children and these expectations.
Absolutely. And then I think the final one is this romanticizing unrealistic morning routines. And yeah,
Who's doing that? That's just the most idiotic thing I've ever heard of. Who romanticizes morning routines? Come on, I am like dragging butt in the morning, okay?
yeah, I mean, like it's more of like, I'm waking up at like 5. I'm doing like a green juice. I'm drinking the green, then I'm like
Shut the front door.
journaling.
No.
I'm journaling, and then I have some calm music before 7, before the children get up. Um, I mean,
Not in my world, we don't.
if someone is able to do this and really be happy with it, it's possible.
Great. More power
But
to them.
I doubt if you're able to do this when you have a toddler or like a young child who's waking up like every 2 hours. It depends also on the child. But anyway, yeah. So there's that perfect morning, and perfect morning for most people is waking up early, maybe working out, maybe journaling, or maybe meditating. Waking up at 5 a.m. I'm meditating. I'm journaling, and then after journaling, I have my green juice. So there's that, and then you're looking at it like, oh my god, like you wake up, and then the person who's speaking actually looks really good. They're like their face is nicely made up, and like, oh my god, and then you wake up with, I don't know. So there's that aspect of you feel like defeated. Parents feel defeated because their morning doesn't look as perfect as what they see online. Everything here
Stop
is
it.
what people are seeing online.
Stop.
Uh,
Chris says, I get up and go to work. It's not as romantic as it sounds.
Yeah, but you can actually romanticize your morning, Chris. You could wake up and be like, meditate for 5 minutes, put up a camera and be like, I meditate for 5 minutes. And then I go to my desk and then show you a desk, and then you journal for like 10 minutes, or you look at your calendar, and then I get a cup of, I don't know, you don't drink tea.
You don't want to look at his calendar. It's like, that does not create a romantic morning. That creates a stressful, I gotta get all this stuff done.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, I get it. I mean, you have no time for that. But yeah, so ultimately we have that, and other parents, almost what I see, they compare. I mean, I want you to look at some of these videos that show a perfect morning routine, or just perfect something, and then you'll see the comment section. It's like, well, like, I wish my children were like this, or I wish my mornings were like that. I mean, how are you able to wake up that early when you have a toddler? Like online performative people are performing for their audience to get this kind of reaction, and then the person real life is thinking this is something I can do, but then you're not even for a moment taking a moment to think. I'm like, you know what, this guy, this person, this video they have actually taken to, it's not necessarily what happens every single day. You're not living with them, you don't know that's what happens every single day. So yeah, that
Exactly. It's
comparison.
you don't see the behind the
Yeah,
scenes. I mean,
yeah,
when my son was younger, and I was all sleeping, it was him coming in and poking me. It was none of this. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
no, no, it was me half awake, going, "I need my coffee. Okay, let's get your breakfast." And yeah, no, there was no looking glamorous. Only in
Yeah,
soap operas. Only in soap operas.
yeah, I mean, again, yeah, absolutely. And then this comparison leading to self-doubt. And then you're thinking, if my life doesn't look like that, then it means I'm a failure. If there's
Yeah.
chaos in my life, if I'm waking up at like 8, because I was probably or 9 or whatever, you're like, oh, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. So, yeah, I think it's
But
just
nothing's
important.
perfect. Nobody's perfect. We're all perfectly imperfect. So just I'm
Uh,
gonna tell everybody, get that out of your head right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's one video I saw, they were waking up. She was waking up at 3:45. I think she was waking up at 3:45 a.m. She woke up, the husband woke up, they started praying. They're like Muslims, so they were praying because I know them, they like 4 a.m. I think they need to be praying. So they pray 4 a.m. Then she goes, does her face routine. Then at like 6, she's waking up the children. Like it was very well choreographed.
Hey,
It
more
was
power to them. I ain't doing it.
millions of views, and we're like, oh my god, wow. You look at the comments, you're like, wow, this is beautiful. I mean, if they're able to do that, power to them, amazing.
Yes,
Yeah, because
that's not for me.
they were in bed already at 7 p.m. So I probably understand they're able to wake up at 3 something if
Yeah.
they're sleeping at 7 p.m. And one other I saw, which is the whole push present thing, and it was more of like, I'm getting a second for my husband, and he's gonna buy me a push present today. So, and then gonna buy gifts for our first.
Oh,
Wait,
I've seen that.
you've seen it? Like 70,000 bracelet for the child who's in a. The child was in a what? What is it like a? What do you call that? That thing you push around. The child
The
was like
carriage,
not even
the
they
stroller,
were yeah, they
stroller.
were not even, they were not even 3, I guess. And they were buying a $70,000 bracelet, and then she's mentioning this price is 100K. I was like, okay, it's fine. I mean, if their husband is those oil people who have lots of money to spend on that, that's like pocket change to them. I was like, that's fine. But you sitting there, me sitting there with, um, and then looking at it, I'm like, I wish my life was like this. I wish my husband did this. It doesn't actually. You need to be realistic. These are. I don't even know if that's the truth. What she's saying, blah blah blah. And if she's saying the truth, good for her. But then we
Right.
actually need to now start, separating social media from reality and not thinking like
Yes.
if our lives are not like that, which is very few people actually able to live that kind of life up there. It's not like that, then I'm not living, I shouldn't be happy. Again, it's crazy. So yeah, so
I'm
that's
with you. I'm with you. That was I was just like dumbfounded when I heard that. And then I immediately went to, if they can afford it, more power to them, because
and it's
that's not in my life.
yeah, but I looked obvious when I look at videos, I always look at the comment section and just see people responding, and I could see a lot of I wish, those things, and it's more like I wish I had that life. I mean, it's fine to wish you had the life, but it's also important that you accept reality. Also, I mean,
Right.
yeah. Anyway, yeah. So
I
yeah,
agree.
that's social media. So all these. Uh, toxic parenting traits, all these things we see on social media. I think it's important that we take time to question everything and be like, what is realistic for my life? What is realistic in
Yeah.
my life? And yeah, if you want a $70,000 bracelet, I mean, work hard for that, or I don't know, whatever it needs to do. But yeah, it's up to you. You want it, go get it. So we're not here saying like, you should not dream big or want to live such a life. Do it, but also I mean, being very realistic and not thinking that your life is not good because you don't have those things.
Live your life, not someone else's life.
Yeah, life is too short, man. Come to realize that. Anyway, all right. So that's the fifth one. I think we finished. We finished them. So
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. So we talked about, just a recap. There is the gentle parenting taken to extreme. That is the first one. Then we had aesthetic Montessori obsession, where everyone wants to look perfect in front of the camera. And then there is the hyper celebration of milestones. Everything we are celebrating, we are creating a TikTok or a reel and posting for our children. And then we have overscheduling young kids, where we don't want our kids to get bored, or yeah, living vicariously through them. And then there is the fifth one, which is romanticizing unrealistic morning routines, even evening routines. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, that's it. Anything else that I've left behind when it comes to toxic parenting trends?
I think that about covers it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any question, guys? Anyone with a question? Comment? We're about to end this. I think we did this in good time. The next one will be parenting advice I wish I ignored. Right?
Yeah.
Parenting advice I wish I ignored. So like this, a
Dun,
noise.
dun, dun.
Yeah.
That was definitely not an issue for me. So
Yeah.
that's all I'll say till next week.
Sorry?
I said that was definitely not an issue for me, but I'll leave that
For next week. All right. So
next week.
we need a lot of parenting advice I wish I ignored. Oh, sorry. I forgot. The last thing is the Reddit questions. Chris is being asked a question there. Really? What is the question, Geoffrey? Really to what? Hi, Geoffrey. So the questions from Reddit. Let me just do one. You know, every time I got into, I find like I normally leave it. Okay. All right. This one is a heavy one. It's a heavy question. Anyway, so, whew, I'm writing because my sister, who I love very much, is going through this now. Her 18-year-old daughter, who is asserting her independence now, left home last week to live with a man 10 years older. They work together along with both being in that same college. Okay. The issue is this man keeps talking about unaliving himself and has made my sister in fear of what can happen to her daughter. The only communication with her has been occasional texts to her mom. What can be done? I have no more advice I can give, and my sister is on the verge of a nervous breakdown. Thank you. I finished.
You're finished. So the question is, he's concerned for his sister, who is in a relationship with somebody that's 10 years her senior, and this individual talks a lot about unaliving themselves.
They're mentally unstable.
That is tough.
I know, right?
I will always advocate and say that if anybody is talking about unaliving themselves, you need to ask them, do you have a plan? what is your plan? You have to ask them. You can't be scared. You asking them is not going to make them do it, but you have to sit there and ask these questions. And if there is a plan and there are things just put out to do, you need to call and get them help. And there are numbers, depending on where you live, there are hotlines and numbers that you can reach out and get them the help that they need. Unfortunately, your sister's 18. You can just be there to support her. At the end, she's going to make the decision to stay or go. And that's probably the toughest thing, is to sit there watching your sibling, your loved one, be in a relationship such as this that is causing them such distress.
Yeah.
But forcing her to leave is not going to make her leave. So giving her and helping her with these questions, and maybe her herself will seek some therapy, to get somebody with a non-biased opinion in there. But
Yeah.
if anybody is going through this or thinking about unaliving themselves, ask them questions. Ask them if they have a plan. How are they going to do it? Ask them that. You need to know how serious it is, and call and get them help.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know. I always say that. I mean, she's 18 now. She's moving in. I'm thinking she's not gonna change her mind. Normally I'd
Yeah.
say, yeah, leave, communicate. If that was my daughter, I'd be like, communicate with her. And again, the other thing I've noticed, like, the more you try to change someone or try to stop them from seeing someone else, the more they will go behind, the more it will just become counterintuitive. It's like everything you're doing is useless. So I found like the best way would be like no judgment, so that they can come to you
Yeah.
when things get like really bad. Because people try to avoid people who judge them, and they're like, if I go to my mom, they'll be like really judgy, so I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, people
Right.
try to avoid that. So just like leave room for communicate with them, open communication. So when shit hits the fan, because based on what I see, it's gonna hit it. They'll just come back, and you'll receive them with open arms. But at this point, you cannot. What can you do?
There is also a lot of support. So here in the United States, there is a lot of support groups within your community, and there are communities for SA, or having a loved one that has SA or is thinking. They have, even for those people who do not have those thoughts, but for the loved ones of
Would
those
you?
individuals, there are support groups out there for you. So go find your people, go to those support groups. They can give you a lot of the information and support that you need in that situation.
Okay, yeah.
So don't discount that. Those groups are really fantastic, and you can find them in every city, in every town here in America. I know for a fact.
Yeah. All right. So let me just do this last question, then we leave. That is, my 16-year-old is moody as hell. He's always been that way. He struggles with depression, and every day he walks through the door, I never know what I'm going to get. When he's upset, I'm worried and upset. When he's happy, I'm happy. Of course, tonight he's not happy, so here I am. He's not doing well in school, and he's given up because the educational system isn't designed for people like him. He's not wrong. I'm not the one saying it's this one. I believe he has ADHD, but he doesn't want to be medicated. I'm meeting with his school counselor tomorrow to discuss options. His outlook on life is pretty negative in general. I've worked him to shift his mindset, but it doesn't last. He's such a loving kid and great in so many ways. He can't seem to regulate his emotions. Wondering if anyone has any insight or relatable experience.
So just because you get or might get an ADHD diagnosis does not mean you have to be put on medication.
Mm.
Okay, there are other ways to mitigate the situation that is going on. There is cognitive behavioral therapy that can help um, do that, but it's going to take work on the individual's side to do it. And there are medications that are not like the ones you hear about out there, is all I can say on here,
Yeah.
that don't do all that. So there are options, and knowing what all your options are, and knowing that, oh, just because I had this does not mean it doesn't mean that I have to be on medication.
Yeah.
So you can learn to facilitate these with behavioral therapies as well. Um, Sometimes, if the behaviors are bad enough, yeah, okay, you might need to, but y'all's minds don't need to go straight to that. Because, first of all, understanding why your son is going through this, because that might not even be the diagnosis. Don't be scared because you're hindering yourself and him to figure out what is going on. And saying that he's depressed, is that something you just think he's depressed, or was he clinically diagnosed as being depressed?
Yes. Yeah.
And then if that's a fact, well, what has brought this on?
Mm.
Where did this stem from? Or we only know as much as they're writing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's not go all catastrophic with something we think might happen. Let's reel it in, figure out, let's get to the root of it, and then start working through what we can do to help him be the best version of himself, whatever that might be.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that I see in this case is, if I was in her shoes, I mean, she said like she feels like she's an emotional hostage. Like when her son is happy, she's happy. When her son is angry, she's angry, like that. And I was thinking that, I mean, it makes sense for sure. But what if she decided she's not gonna like follow her son's feelings? What if she decided she's going to take control of how she feels? Like it's emotional regulation. Like she just decides, yeah, he's come through the door mad, but you know what? I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna be greeting him like really nicely. I'm going to be in a very happy mood, because I believe that when you have those moods, they're very, what is it, trans they can be transferred or whatever, like the person wants.
Transference.
Yeah, yeah. So I do that, but I'm sure it's going to be difficult, especially in the beginning. It will be very robotic and all that. But I believe, like with time, she will get into it and just decide, you know what, my mood is going to not going to depend on his mood, so that he can learn from her the whole aspect of emotional regulation. Yeah. So that's
You
what I.
have hit on something very important, because you said that her moods were reliant on his, and they should not be. And that can be a sign of codependent behavior, when we are walking on eggshells, when somebody's upset, and then, oh, when somebody's happy, then we're happy. That's a lot of codependent behavior. So try to figure out, well, where did that come up? When did that start with myself? And recognizing that and changing that. Because you know what? Just because somebody in your household's upset doesn't mean you have to be upset. Not your monkey, not your circus. Quit taking on other people's responsibilities. Don't take
Yeah.
ownership of somebody else's feelings. They're not yours to take on. So stop it, even with your children, right? So,
Yeah.
like I said, we have to sit there and put out into this world what we want to get back, but it doesn't mean we're always going to receive it. But recognizing, I think that was a good point you had, needing to recognize, why are you kind of walking on these eggshells around him? Because that is very codependent behavior. We don't want to, upset. We're the enabler when we're doing stuff like that. And basically, what we're saying is, hey, look at me, look at me. Do not look at the 10-foot pink elephant defecating in the middle of the room. Look at me, right? That's what we're doing. And
Yeah.
that's a lot of codependent behavior, and it's not good. And maybe this is something she learned as a child in her own home growing up,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
in another relationship, and it's
Yeah.
being passed on to her child without
Yeah.
her. And a lot of this codependency happens without us even realizing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I mean, it's a first step. Asking is a first step. Anyway, yeah, all right. So thank you so much. Been a lovely
Thank you
session.
for having me.
So see you next week with parenting advice I wish I ignored. Let's look for as much as possible.
Yeah,
Even if it's not I, like other people, maybe someone has talked about this. Anyway, all right, okay.
absolutely.
All right, have a lovely weekend.
You
Mwah,
too.
mwah. Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye bye.